Is that a ringtone?
I thought Gary's ringtone is it? Wow.
That's a way to clear a room, isn't it?
Whose contact do they have that assigned?
How many guys I've known who set their life as a Star Wars? Yeah.
Alrighty, folks, as it is now 6 o'clock, let's get started with this Hermosa Town Board meeting for Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. So we'll start with the roll call. Kramer?
Here.
Ferguson?
Here.
Coombs? Here. Harris?
Here.
Service?
Here.
Thank everybody else for coming. We have a pretty full room here tonight, so that's great to see. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. Right, thank you. So review of current agenda items. I do know we need to move 6C to the next meeting and 7B to the first meeting in October. Are there any other changes?
So 9:23 for C.
6C,
To then,
The 9:23.
which should be the 23rd.
23rd.
And then 7C to the calendar.
7B.
7B
To the 7th.
7.
Okay. So are there any other changes, Linda?
I would like to add discussion, Public Works, on, meter reading, please.
Okay. Your reading discussion.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Any others? Okay, I guess I'll make that motion to adopt those changes. Do I have a second?
Go for it.
Linda?
Yeah,
All right.
that's fine.
Okay, let's see. Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, approval of August 19th, 2025 regular meeting minutes and August 26th, 2025 special meeting. Does anybody have any changes?
I make a motion, we accept the meetings as stated.
Linda makes a motion to, or sorry, Donna makes a motion to accept. Do we have a second yet?
I'll second.
Seconds. Have any discussion on these? Take a couple of minutes to look at them again. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Yeah. Motion carries. Very good. Conflict of interest declaration. Any board members that have any conflict of interest or any items on the agenda, please state them now or when we get to that item. Thank you. Okay, town FEMA updates. Is Joan here?
Yeah.
None? Okay, none of those. So let's move along to engineer. So we're on 6A, approve change order number 9 for road advantage.
Robert had asked me to call him. Broke.
Okay. So Terry is calling Rob on the phone.
Hi, Robert.
Hey, Terry, how are you?
Good. I got you on my speakerphone on my cell phone, so we just got to the engineer item. Yeah, I'm kind of having a hard time. You're breaking up a little bit. So. Okay.
Okay, while he's doing that, Anthony, would you like to proceed, please?
Yep, so, this relates to the east side of the lagoons where they had a borrow pit that they dug so they could have enough dirt for the berms and everything. And so they needed a place to deposit, some of the, material from the lagoons that was excavated out. And so then it needed to dry. And so they deposited along that east side because that was out of the way as they were constructing everything from east to west, basically. And so that crusted over but didn't dry. And so it was like, in some places I'd walk on it, it was like a waterbed, because it was so saturated from being in the lagoons. And so I asked them to dig that back out, lay it dry, spread it out so it would dry, because it crusted over. So, it's that thick, it'll dry. Anything deeper, it won't, the sun won't get to it and do its job. So, so they did a calculation to pull it out, mix it with dry stuff, because they still had some dry stuff from Jerry, and then put it back in. So processing and putting it back in. And so that was, they're estimated 5,000 cubic yards of material. And so their bid quantities are clear from their bid, 5,000 cubic yards times this for excavation, 5,000 cubic yards times this for putting it back in. And then there was a certain amount of hourly to mix it, dry it, and process it, and send it back in and compact it. So all that added up to this change order request, which is 90,000. Now, on top of that, there's 515 linear feet of fence that's missing on the east side. And what they've done is they've just taken barbed wire. Well, there was just barbed wire there before. And so that fence needs to be closed off. I'm not quite sure why that was not in the original bid. It just said replace and remove barbed wire fence. And so we need to have a 6-foot security fence there. And so that is their bid quantity is their bid item. Unit price is $37.63 per foot for that fence. And so they have 515 feet. So that's 19,379.45. So I would like to amend that to add that so there's no more change orders on this job, because this is it. Everything else is in their contract, making sure that topsoil and seeding done and all the gravels are all done. So we're at pretty much other than the topsoil and seeding, they're done. And so we're at the end of it. I sent this off to the state and I asked for her to review it. She sent it back to me and said, just put it in the bid items as we've done in the past, break it all out, and then have the town sign the change order. And the signed change order plus the breakout, she would then have her reviewers approve. So, review and approve. So that's what I'm asking to have done now. And it's still in the loan. We still have that amount in the loan. So the only thing that's a caveat is, we've had a lot of rapid fire pay applications made. And so Terry needs time the state takes time to pay us back. We've been paying like immediately. So we will need to have the contractor work with us on that, but we can get this going. So at least I talked to DANR on September 4th about this. So, so I would want to, if we are going to approve an amount, I can amend the change order to match it, but it would be 109,379.45. And then that would be our last change order request.
The fencing was about 20 grand.
19, yeah, 19,379.
And is that all new fencing?
Mhm. Yeah, there never was fencing on that side. They had, they just put barbed wire across
Mm-hmm.
to the east fence. But that's all. Now, Bar has to go around, to go from the north to the south on the property. Before there was no lagoon there. There was a big field there,
Mm-hmm.
so.
So then, the fence location, where is that supposed to be at then?
It would be, they've stopped on the east side where the two posts are, so it's just connecting those two posts coming from north to south
Okay,
on the east side of the detention basin.
right, and you, so you can see the two posts in this picture.
Mhm.
For anybody that wanted to look, and how many linear feet of barbed wire is that supposed to be?
Well, it was barbed wire, now it's gonna be that 6 foot high fence, right? So that's 515.
Chain link
Yeah.
fence? Do we still have some of that down at the? But it's new that you're looking at buying, that they're looking at buying, not using our old?
Well, it has to be 6 feet tall according to the wastewater facilities plan. If it's 6 feet, then be okay, we could use some of the old, that doesn't, it's not a requirement, but I think we had 4 foot, I don't know, gotta make sure it's 6.
Chuck, what is it?
You know, they're nice.
All different heights? Okay.
Okay, Dan, did you have a comment or?
Yeah, there's a bunch of 6 foot down there, so we actually had enough to go around the whole pump house down there. And there was a discussion on that to basically whether new or used. You remember back then, there's enough top rail down there. There's a bunch of posts. But if a person wanted to use some of the used abilities there, or what needs to be done is it figured out and used down there. Some of it was taller, remember, Linda? And so we're gonna use the taller stuff on the east side and the 6 footers for the runs so they're on the sides. But there's enough there.
So we could do an improved not to exceed, I have to revise the change order anyways. And I'll try to work with the contractor to see if he can credit us towards the materials cost.
Okay,
And I'd have to work that out on the bid plan. So there is an item that's processing, so maybe he can give us a credit on the processing, which is outside the bid quantities. And then that'll help us out with using our own materials, because he only can get paid his bid quantity, he can't get paid anything higher or lower. But when it's outside the bid quantities, then it can't be over 10% of the entire contract. So that's limited. So there, he had some for full processing the sludge. So if he could credit us from that part of it to account for the materials, then it would be less than the 109.
okay, Mark,
How much per foot did you say down there?
37.63, $37.
That's just 9 gauge, commercial 6 foot, no bar on top or
No guarding. We don't have bar on top, right, guys?
And why wasn't this included in the original contract with them?
So the plan said remove and replace existing fence, but it was barbed wire. It wasn't, there wasn't a fence there. So that got, added later.
Isn't this something we could get bids on? $37 a foot, 9 gauge commercials. That's a lot of money for putting chain link.
We could do that.
I'll put it out to bid on that. What does the board think on that?
I guess the time frame is the only thing.
Yeah,
The only concern I have is whatever we do, we would want it to be included in the loan.
right,
So if we go out to bid, then we have to make sure that everything, it's not gonna be just, you know, Joe and his pickup. It's gotta be Davis Bacon wages. You have to follow all the protocols and get SRF. So.
And the time frame for that to go out to bid would be about 6 weeks. Am I correct on that?
They need to give them time to
Mhm.
fine.
And do we have that amount of time to get that done?
Maybe winter, maybe not.
Well,
A few months. Well, for his contract.
right,
But if we went this way, what's the time frame of that getting done?
He says he can get it done before the October 31st deadline.
Yeah, this. So,
But technically, we did go out to bid and we had, we had a lot of bidders. And
Mhm.
so,
for the whole project,
yeah, and he had the unit price for fence, so everyone did.
Is this comparable on the unit price? to the others?
I have to look, I don't remember each one of those bidders. Sometimes they go low here and high here. You know, one of the items where the SRF loan was, you remember, this is the 2022 money?
Mhm.
So Joe Biden was president. And so the rules were different, federally subsidized
Yep.
loans, right?
Sure.
So a lot of times fencing would get procured by a company that was following those types of rules, right? Or following those types of things. So it could be all over the board of those prices.
and is this fence a requirement for, from DANR to get this project stamped as completed, or is this is a need to have, right? This isn't a nice to have.
I think it's a security thing from the standpoint of that's why they required 6-foot fence.
Liability, probably, right?
What's that?
Liability.
Right. So it's just one of those things that would just be left hanging and you'd ask why, you know? So instead of risking them as saying, why haven't you secured your lagoons, facility? I think we should get it done. That's why I made this recommendation to add this if we're going to have a change order.
Sure.
Kind of not a question, but, the difference between if we put it out to bid and the money, that we would save between the 20,000, let's say it comes in at 12 or 15. In the long run, when that's applied to the loan and it comes back out of the monthly payment, and what's our total loan amount?
1.1 something.
Right, so money wise, is it gonna make a difference?
No, actually.
Like
our
a
loans-
dollar difference on a loan payment?
Sorry, it's like 750,000 because we had grants. We had
Right.
Yeah,
375.
grant, yeah.
Yeah,
So like
307, total was one.
698 something, I think.
Yeah, 698, you're right.
So looking at it that way, is it worth the extra work, put it out to bid and risk it not getting done or
Well,
know,
we'll incur
just to
fines
complete it.
if they claim we're not done with the lagoon facility, then they put the fines back on as of October 31st.
right?
Okay, Derek?
I just think at the price of the fence at $19,000-$20,000 and going out, I just think you just leave it part of the contract. Like I said, it was competitive to bid it, all those line items were competitive bid already.
Yeah.
And we accepted what those line items were.
We
Accepted their bid, and accepted their cost on those line items.
We
So I
can
think
save some
just
use
go
for
forward and
that.
put them on.
I think they'll work with us.
Yeah, I mean.
You guys work with us on the materials that we have?
Yeah, I got something we can use, we'll go with that.
All right.
Okay.
I guess the motion requested would be.
Still there, Robert? Okay.
Not to exceed this amount, and we'll work with the contractor to get credits for materials that we supply.
Good.
Mike, I'll make a motion then to accept that. And the reasoning there would be because of the deadline, because of the possible fines if we don't meet the deadline, and the fact that, if I realize that the citizens' money, all of our money, we pay our bills, and with each increase, we have probably an increased bill. But I think that in this particular case, the time frame is too close for comfort. And so I would like to just go with Borough doing it and hopefully saving us some money by using our own product.
Okay. Linda makes a quite lengthy motion.
Sorry, it didn't have to be that much, but
Motion to approve the total of 109,379.
0.45.
So Linda makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
I have a question.
Shanna seconds. Discussion. Donna has a question.
So this is new fence we're using, we're just gonna go ahead and have him. We're gonna
use the old stuff if we can.
He's gonna credit back some if he can.
So it'd be a not to exceed.
Yeah, not to exceed
Mhm.
the stipulation that they check out what we do have fencing and use what we can there. Okay, any other discussion from the board? Dan?
And I think too, even though we have that old fence, it's that beautiful facility that everybody has beat their butts to put together. I think going with the new stuff and keeping it in uniformity would be the best way. And then use the old stuff on our pump house. I think we need to get a bid and do our own. We've got enough there to do it. We need posts. But this way, they're working with new material and it matches everything and it looks good. Because you guys have worked your butts off to put this thing together. As well as them. So, thank you.
Yeah, I would say they worked on it more than we did, but.
Yeah.
It's counting. All right, is there any further discussion? Okay, Shanna?
Sorry, I point out the old stuff or our stuff isn't actually used stuff. It's new stuff that hadn't been used, correct? Isn't that from the Homeland Security grant that we got numerous years ago to secure our facilities?
Actually, we bought it from Hot Springs.
Oh,
We
okay.
were getting rid of all our surplus and I hauled it all up here, unloaded it and stacked it all out there, so.
So is it used or unused?
Used.
It is used.
All
Okay.
used.
I was just curious. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Eric?
So once this has been processed and stockpiled, it's at the processing and stockpiling and then for future use, what utilization would you see for this material once it's been processed?
Well, I don't know if there will be any remaining material. Yeah, not much. And Negabar wanted any extra material that we had. He was actually disappointed when we said we didn't think we were gonna have it. So I don't know, he'll use it in, in his farm fields,
Or giving it, sort of paying it back a little bit?
It's got a ton of fertilizer in it for sure.
Okay. I just would like to point out before the vote, in the packet, there's a picture, drone shot of the new system. We all didn't see that yet, so it's.
When was that taken? This photo?
2 weeks ago, maybe? 3 weeks. A couple weeks ago.
I almost thought, actually, I think I put that last week or something, like, extremely recently.
Yeah, pretty recent.
Okay.
So.
Very good.
Big label.
Definitely appreciate all your hard work on this, guys. Robert included on that. Yes, sir. All right, you all ready?
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It carries.
Okay, so next item is for the back truck. So, and this will give you a little bit of a FEMA update too.
You're done? Okay.
Bye.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Rob.
Reminds me,
Thanks.
All right.
You throwing a party whistle?
All right, so yeah, so just to give a background to this, back truck repair, this is the back truck we bought from Hill City. When we brought it from Hill City, it had a couple things. It had that pony motor that needed a new clutch, just kind of a more in-depth repair. And then it had a hydraulic leak on the boom. And so Chuck has identified the hydraulic leaks that it has. And what I said was, we're approaching the winter. We don't really have the greatest buildings to put it in yet. But we could still get some use out of it as a jetter for the fall. And so I'm gonna be within a month, I'll have our camera, our sewer inspection camera that Benish owns. And so if we have the jetter running, then we can at least jet and televise some of the lines this fall, as a part of the FEMA grant. Start to kind of get a feel for how much material is in that pipe and all that kind of stuff. So, so this would be to repair the hydraulic cylinders on the Vector truck, and so that, whole program is a reimbursement program. So, costs to do the cleaning and televising were in the grant. And so I was told that, any sub that Benish has, we don't have to bid our subs. We just have to make sure they pay prevailing wages, that type of stuff. So, so we would try to get this repair that we need to get done just to get going into our reimbursement program from the FEMA grant. So, I'd hope that nothing comes out of the town's pocket to get us going on cleaning and televising.
Okay, great. Thanks, Anthony. Is there any board members like to make a motion or have any questions for Anthony? That's item. Yeah,
What do you mean by hope? Is this like a 90% chance we'll get it reimbursed on this? 95?
100.
Okay, motion to approve.
okay. Aaron, were you looking to make a motion?
Yeah, I was going to.
Okay, is that your motion, Shannon?
Yeah.
Would you like a
Second for discussion.
Okay, Shannon makes the motion. Aaron seconds. Would you like to open up the discussion here?
Yeah, so to make sure there's a lot of people here who may not have heard too much about this in the past. So we bought this truck, it was January, I think.
It's that long ago already.
So this is a sewer maintenance truck, essentially, jetting the lines out. Everybody knows we've got some sewer lines that need some much needed attention, some clogs, some issues here and there, some collapsed tubing. They need to camera all that to figure out what's going on. And then they need to clean it out with the jetting tool. This truck does two things. One, it has the jetting system, which is what this applies to for pumping water down the line and clearing it out. And the other system is the vacuum tank. Both are currently inoperable. We've talking with Anthony, we're going to hold off on repairing the vacuum side of it until next year. But doing this jetting gives us the ability to actually start clearing out some of our clogged sewer lines and getting some of the systems dialed in throughout town. So just wanted to try to make sure everybody kind of has an idea of where we're at on that.
Thank you. Linda?
And it can also jet the culverts too and clean those out, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be a good thing also.
And when the Vector is working, we could hydro that too.
Right.
Okay, Aaron.
And just another note, I think from what I heard, Chuck can verify this, when we used to contract out this job, it was something like $60,000 a pop. And now we've got the truck for about 22,000. I figure by the time it's fully operational, hopefully we'll stay under 30. But this is a good long-term investment for the town. It's also one of the first pieces of equipment the town itself actually owns, which kind of brings us to another point, is we need to make sure it gets up to where it's performing how it needs to do for the long term. So this is a good baby step.
Yep.
And Chuck, I mean, you can do this kind of mechanical work, or Chuck too can't?
I'm getting a little assistance with it.
Okay.
It's gonna be a couple more weeks at least to get into it. We have to break it down to make sure that we're getting the right parts, because to verify the numbers on the parts and then make sure we get the right parts when they do come, because if you get the wrong parts and it's tore apart to verify it and shut and open, not good.
Okay.
Good, Aaron.
So on that note, I did kind of mention this is one of the few pieces that the town actually owns. So one thought I've had, we're going to, and I've talked with Anthony about this, long-term trackball maintenance on our equipment as well as our infrastructure. So on that note, I don't know if it's something that we would need to modify the motion for, but I would like to work with Chuck through the process, help make sure everything's documented, all our parts are kept track of, and we have a long-term record. Kind of like you want the receipts when you buy a car, we want to keep the keep track of all the maintenance that's done on the vehicle over time, so we can go back and, because something like a hydraulic, this could be a repeat failure down the road. You know, it's a hydraulic system could be something we have to revisit, so I think it'd be good to have good documentation of the parts that we needed, pictures of the issue before the malfunction, and then after, so. I don't know if that's something we'd need to modify the motion. I don't know.
know if it's required, but Shannon.
I don't think it is, kind of a separate issue, but as far as tracking equipment, then we should probably include like the law enforcement vehicles and our spraying equipment for weeds and perhaps our pumps
Yeah, that's.
for maintenance and that.
I think what Aaron's talking about
For
is
assets.
using this particular job as a means of kicking off that program. And then he can, sounds like he's volunteering for that. Is that?
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've got so many pictures I need to load into Silversmith already, might as well. You know.
Okay, well, maybe we'll revisit exactly what your involvement will be. Okay. Anyways, any further discussion on this one? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Very good. Okay, it looks like that's it for engineer, as item 6C has been moved to the next meeting. So on to 7A, planning and zoning, favorable inspection for permit 2025-16. And Terry let me know that she got a verbal report back from John Burkhart, who did a building inspection on that. If you recall, for the motion to approve this permit, we required that John find that John inspected and that it meets his standards for that. So she did receive a verbal report back from him. And so this item is just a follow-up on that.
Informational, okay.
Informational. Did you have anything to add there?
No.
All right, thank you.
Could we add maybe on the original permit, just to note that, you know, date and time that you talked to him, that he did an inspection, so it's on paper, record that we have it.
All right, thanks, Shanna.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. On to claims. So item 8A.
Yeah, B.
B, we moved to the October 7th meeting for Mr. Barnier. All right, thank you. All right, 8A claims. So this one, this pay app, this should be 8. Is that right?
No, that was the one we approved last time, so now I'm just including in the claims that got paid.
We did 9 today.
Oh, did I put, oh, sorry. It's 8. That was confusing.
Yeah, we
Okay.
went back and forth a
Okay.
couple of times.
Yeah, well, that should be 8.
Oh, okay, no worries.
I make a motion, we accept the claims as stated.
With the caveat that the pay application under Baroque Advantage is for pay app number 8. On these claims, since we approved pay app number 9 tonight. There was a little bit of a confusion there with the pay app number when we discussed it at the last meeting, and we got that ironed out, but that update didn't make it to this list until just now. So very good. So Donna makes the motion to approve with that caveat. Do we have any second here?
I'll make the motion, second motion.
Okay, Linda seconds. Aaron?
Terry, do you have the, with this included, do you have where our legal budget's gonna be at?
I don't, because so we were down just over 2,000 before we did the supplement. So put us
You got
at just,
10,000.
we got 10, so put us We'll have probably just under 4.
Okay, yeah, you know what, we do need to adjust that. So, I move that we,
We're gonna amend the motion.
yeah, that we amend the motion to remove the September 2025 retainer from Hagen Hague. And we just pay the balance of that for services rendered up until this point.
I'll second that one.
Okay. So, ended.
Is that going to be renegotiated before?
I talked to Ken about it, and we just don't have enough money in the budget to keep the retainer going, and any legal services rendered will have to be kind of piecemeal or à la carte on a case by case basis going forward. So see what that new amount will be.
2182.75.
What was the retainer amount?
2,500.
So that'll bring the total amount to, according to my numbers, 82,754.46. With the bulk of that being pay app number 8 with an expansion. Okay, so we have a amended motion in a second. Is there any further discussion on the claims?
Who seconded the amendment? Okay, sir.
Kathy?
What are the copies? 206 copies.
Currently makes copies, and files them at the office.
Supposedly on everything that he gets from us. Goes into a copy.
So what's the total amount we're paying him this month?
2182.75.
And that's just for copies.
No, it's the whole bill.
Yeah, that's the whole bill. It's the
About $8.
7.75.
Minus the retainer. Right.
Yeah, the 2182.75 is the balance after the retainer is taken out for September. And that will be 7.75 billable hours at 275 an hour plus the copies. And the copies are actually a small portion of that. So, is there any other questions on this? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Make my note here real quick.
I have a question. Does the board, or the public look at this long, that's the sheriff's log, sorry. Thought that was a check register. I was thinking, I don't really need to see that. My apologies. This is actually a very long law enforcement report.
Exactly.
Yep.
Almost twice in the morning.
Okay, well, we don't have anything specifically in legal on the agenda, but like I did mention, I informed Kent that, you know, due to I guess our budgetary constraints on the legal, that we won't be able to pay him his retainer for the rest of the year. And so that's the stance that we'll take up until, I guess, until the first of the year when the board decides what we will do in the future. Okay, moving right along to law enforcement. So A is monthly report. I do not see him in here, so I think we can move on to 9B. Yeah, the phone internet cost for the marshal
And-
office.
And that was something Eric had discussed with me, and since we should probably try that this year.
Okay, so we table both of those. Okay, so on to 9C then, let's go ahead and table that. Would the law enforcement committee like to go over the logs?
I don't. Is it necessary?
Just a question.
I don't think it's necessary to go over all of them. And like Shannon, there is some on here I don't think need to be publicized. I guess,
Are we paying for all these extra patrols?
no,
We're not getting a bill from them anymore?
No, we only pay the dispatch.
And what did we pay for that?
We pay $8,000 a year, so 2,000 per quarter.
and you think that's their way, I haven't thought of something. But
Yeah, that's something that we didn't used to have, so that's
Huh?
back in the day. That's something you used, something-
We've had it since I've been on board.
I'm sure that's just.
Alrighty, did anybody have any thing to discuss on the, excuse me, on the Custer County law? Okay, it looks like we can move on from there. So on to Public Works. We have street light repairs, and then the water and sewer department updates.
On the street, Aaron's been working on some of the bad spots. Being down now for a few days, so we need to get money, whatever. Continue to work on this areas that are kind of rough yet. Street lights, I think they missed a couple of them, but they came back and fixed them, so I think we're going to go unless somebody knows of something that is out that I did not see. Water, our consumption is down some. We did have some issues with some chlorine folks down there, and we got that resolved. Have some tests that we need to do before the end of the year, but other than that, everything's pretty much normal. Looking at our water loss, it fluctuates quite a bit. 18% is more than I like to see, but we're allowed 12%, which is quite a bit of water when you look at the volume that's been pumped. But I haven't experienced any leaks of any size. Sewer, they pretty well covered that, Anthony did, and parts are in for brush cap, so we'll be waging war on the weeds again. And the terrain is pretty steep, and one thing that there's a lot of this stuff, so. But we're actually can't do anything about the plants that are on the seed. So the spring and this time of year is not very lucrative because all you're doing is killing the plant that's there, not anything that may be coming. So still got some spraying that could be done, but it's pretty much wrong part of the season now. So. We're going to issue on the treatment plant, and it has been operating, and actually the water that's being produced is just as bad than the creek water.
Wow.
But there's contaminants upstream, which there always is, but that water is very good. It's coming out of it. That's about it on most Collins work orders. Still chiseling away on some of those.
Hey Chuck, can I stop you on there? On the sewer department update? Anthony, do you have a minute?
Yeah.
Sorry to put you on the spot. I know there's some concern about the water treatment plant, or sorry, the wastewater treatment plant building. that, I believe you took some steps to address those. Would you like to let everybody know what went on with that?
So, the building that we have is from Apple Springs, came with the purchase of the treatment plant equipment. So, you know, the contractor is hired to pick that building up from Apple Springs and move it here. And so our main concern is getting the treatment system operational, meeting our permit limits, and, you know, getting that detention basin down for the winter. That would allow us to then address any kind of things in the building that we want to improve. And so as long as, I don't see any kind of major structural concern, before I final the contractors, then that would allow that to end. Now, he's still in the middle of, right in the middle of construction of the, panels and wall insulation and all that stuff. So I know that somebody went out and inspected when the tap built, but, I brought all those concerns to the contractor's attention. I think supporting the trusses for vertical loads, like snow loads or whatever, he's addressed that with, a new lintel with lag bolts through each post on the inside, supporting the trusses. I told him that for uplift, which would be the bigger concern, I'd like to see hurricane straps on all the trusses and the N2 bays braced for wind. If they weren't braced at Apple Springs, they need to be here. We have a different wind exposure. So he's gonna have all those things done. He's already done half of those things.
Okay, great. Yeah, I know that was a concern that some people had, so
Mhm.
just wanted to make sure that we addressed that. Okay, great. So thank you. So, sorry, Chuck, let's move on to open work orders.
Yeah, I got that list and genuinely, no way that you're right.
Yeah, and I did receive an email regarding, the first item on the list, and I just, I'll talk to the person, after as well, but, you know, I just wanted to point out too, that in past meetings, we've talked about how are we going to address the sewer issues in the old part of town? And absent an absolute emergency situation, when we still have sewers that are flowing and working, even if they may have a leak or something like that, that's, you know, quite a ways underground, 10 feet or so, that, you know, we're looking at doing like a lining process where we hire some contractors to come in and they can line the pipes in situ. And then when that happens, when we're in the planning phase for that, we'll approach homeowners and see if they also will want to take advantage of that at basically a reduced cost, since they're already going to be here, type of thing. And they could take advantage of getting the service lines also lined. So that's one thing that we have talked about, and that's, I believe that was a recommendation from our engineer on a good way to proceed. But as far as I know at this, time, we don't have anything that warrants, you know, that's an emergency. So, Jerry.
Will that area then be, I know that we talked earlier about getting the camera and the jet truck to go down and clean. Will that area be a high priority to send the camera down and stuff? Because that's how you can build, what needs to be repaired by camera and then writing work orders off of that. I just wonder if that would be a priority area.
Yeah, I believe so. And I believe we already have cambered it, haven't we, Anthony? Cambered that line.
Pace has done some hammering throughout the town. So the end of the line, Fairground Place, is pretty flat. And so that's where the most, to me, just by the nature of it, the end of the line would be the one that gets the most maintenance attention.
Yeah.
It's all the flow goes through there.
So we're talking about kind of, I think, running down Manning Street is where we're talking about, where we have the item number 2 on the work order list. You might not have it in front of you, but that's one that has the leak at the sewer tap for the saddle.
Yeah. So inspection would identify the defect type. And so normally the way we inspect, we code it, follows a standard, called a NACO standard. And so we do a code and it's a formal report that's produced as a pipe graphic and it shows each defect where, based on preliminary footage from the entry manhole. And then it'll have an image, like a photo image, snapshot of that defect, so then we can say, this is the standard repair for that type of defect and start doing that. But I mean, it's obviously, that helps us prioritize when we know how much we got, right? But then deciding to repair something involves a risk matrix. So we follow either likelihood of failure versus critical, the consequence of failure. And so if it fails there, but versus it fails in, for example, fairground place, the consequences of failure there are much higher than more extremities of the system where it would affect less people. So when we're going through prioritization, we use that risk matrix. And NASCO's standard of defect coding fits into that matrix. So there's a whole process that's involved.
Okay, and I also think too that as far as for the FEMA grant for the study, it's mainly centered on Ferguson subdivision. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it was written so that we would be able to inspect all this Ferguson stuff that was flooded by Battle Creek in '07. That's because there could be quite a lot of material in that sewer that got brought in during the floodwaters. So cleaning and televising that area, FEMA has given us grant money to do that. It also helps us build our resources so that we can take them and use them in the rest of the town. We can do other parts of the system with our kind of annual budget that we'll put together. And that's how we'll tackle it. We'll just tackle it based on priority and consequence of failure and work our way out. So if we have some specific segments that are, raising a concern, it doesn't take us long to hit 400 feet of pipe. So.
Okay, does that satisfy your concern, Jerry?
Yeah, that's what I agree that we look at the 400 feet to find out here, because there's been quite a few issues. So
Okay.
thank you, Anthony. Very
Yeah,
good.
we can probably throw that one little piece in when we do Ferguson.
Okay, great. Shannon?
Would, part of Manning Street be able to be included in there since there's part floodplain? I mean, it would have all kind of washed down towards Ferguson at that point.
Yeah, we have some flexibility. The justification was also though that Ferguson sub feeds Ferguson pump station. And if
Right.
Ferguson pump station gets inundated by floodwaters, or it has lost its capacity, and so we lose that, then it causes a bigger impact versus when it's on a gravity system. So it's, like less of an impact to critical infrastructure. But it's a BRIC grant, so that means building resilient infrastructure. So BRIC. So that's an infrastructure item we're trying to make more resilient. It is Ferguson pump station.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Anthony. Chuck?
Well, the cammering is very crucial because nobody can see under the ground, see what they are. I've got miles and miles of tape in my office that's been done over the years. And certain areas, you can review those tapes and from time to time to see something anywhere, see trend fixed or whatever. So hammering is very, very crucial.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, Aaron?
Just for a little update on streets.
Sure.
So Saturday, we kind of had a few people get together for the first time to do some of the volunteer road maintenance. I talked to Terry and we have standardized volunteer forms apparently. So I put some out here. We just started, the three of us on Saturday, and we did an alley, probably the weirdest place to start, but just to get the process, learn the process. So we're using the 2-inch riprap, and it's going to work. It's going to lock in place, and once the potholes are full, they're going to stay that way. Eventually, we need to go over that with gravel, but for now, the road base is really the critical key. So if anybody's is interested in swinging a shovel now and then or helping out, then there are forms here that you can fill out to volunteer to help out.
Yeah, yeah, great, thanks. Would you like to say who's with you? Is that?
Oh, yeah, Tammy and Marshall Alias came out and we kind of did some road work, and yeah, it's a lot of shoveling and it's heavy, and riprap does not shovel easy. It's not dirt. Getting a shovel in it isn't fun or easy. It's a lot of manual labor, but it's rewarding in its own right.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Tammy, for doing that. And we'll have to thank Marshall when you see him next time as well. So thank you very much, people.
Thank you.
Oh, and yes, thank you for Mr. Ferguson for loaning us some equipment, because we did need some equipment to get rock loaded into the back of my truck, because that was not gonna happen by hand.
Nice. All right. It sounds like a real team effort then, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
We don't have to key on the road battery down.
Oops.
I'll come jump it if you need to. I'm sorry, we're new.
Okay, so on to 11C, streets contract work. Do you have anything for that, Dan?
No.
Okay. 11D, SDARWS, Day of Water.
Yeah, so Wyatt was stopped by last week and I believe he talked to Chuck and he didn't. He left us here. He thought maybe Chuck needed to attend it. Or somebody, I don't know. Okay. So it's
Interesting.
on the 30th and it's in Rapid City. So.
Okay, it's in the packet. If anybody is interested in attending that, Chuck included. Okay, 11E, the item added was meter reading discussion. Linda would Linda wanted to add that, so.
Thank you. Thank you. After doing meters last month, I contacted Terry and told her that I would be putting in my notice for doing the meter reading. It was a very convenient job for myself for the last years, because I always figured that I was getting paid to exercise, and also that I could do it on a time frame that worked for me. And so now there's been discussion through citizens that they want it done specifically on the 20th. And before, I was able to do it on the 18th, 19th, 21st, or 22nd, depending on the weather or depending on my own schedule. Even on weekends and on Sundays, which when you're reading meters, a lot of people will say to you, why are you working on a Sunday? But we did so freely. One day's just another day for me. However, this last month that I did it, it was on the 20th, and it was like 102, I don't know, hotter than Hades. And the flies were absolutely miserable, which you have no control over. I understand that. However, the heat is more than I care to deal with. And had I been able to do it the day before or the day after, it would have been a little less temperature wise and not so annoying. And so my concern is for the winter, as it always was, if the 20th fell and we had on the 19th a horrible ice storm or snowstorm, I could read what was easy to read on the 20th and postpone the others until the weather cooperated or the ice melted or whatever, and do it on the 21st or 22nd. I'm not willing to do it anymore at the rate of pay that it is on the 20th, because of those situations. You just don't know what the weather's going to be like. You don't know. And possibly I have an emergency in the family and it messes that up. So for that reason, I will be giving that up. I will train somebody. I would like to, for that person's benefit, I would like to make sure that they know if they are allowed to do it on on those 2 days before or 2 days after, or if they have to do it on the 20th. I do not want them to run into the same issues that I have had. I would like everybody to know, I think everybody thinks that it's kind of a cush job, and I'd like you to know it is not. It is not a cush job. And Aaron, I did train Aaron, a little bit for when I was on vacation. And how cushy was it, Eric? Aaron?
It was the opposite of that. It wasn't, I got about 2 days and I was like, yeah, this is not it's not something you do to make the money.
No.
You've got to care about the town to do that job. So whoever puts in, whoever's interested, it's not easy, but there are benefits when the little puppies run up to say hi, when you get to talk to the citizens and see people. It has its benefits, but it's not, it's not a glorious job, but it's necessary. So I think the town, yeah, yes. I think we owe gratitude.
I'm not looking for that. I really am not.
Well,
Like I said, it was a nice little pocket change job for me, because of the fact that like I said, felt like I was getting paid to exercise and I could do it on my schedule. So, those things I'm not sure are still available. I guess I would accept the job. I always tried to hurry too, because it was money out of the town's pocket. And so I tried to hurry it along. Um, I guess if the town was willing to pay $25 an hour for the job, I might reconsider that, but on the other side, I think I'm just done. I'll be done as soon as I get somebody trained. Sorry. Boss?
Just a quick question for Linda. Do you get reimbursed for all your gas?
No.
Okay, Connie and then Trina.
I just felt this was kind of aimed at me because I brought up 5-week water bills. And the bill itself reflects that's a 4-week bill, but really we were getting paid, we're getting charged for 5 weeks because I'm catching them on the camera reading them on the 22nd and not on the 20th. That's stated in the bill. So the ordinance says to read it on or about the 20th. So that's the 18th through the 22nd. That gives us a day or two either way. But every time I've gone over, it's because it's a 5-week water bill. So.
Okay, well, thank you for bringing that to our attention, and Trina.
Thank you, Linda, for doing that. I hope we will find somebody. That'd be a difficult on the bill, I would think. I was under the impression that we were switching the water meters to be automatically read or something. That was like a year ago, we kind of talked about that, didn't we?
That is, and it is still, it was budgeted for this year, Terry. But doing that is going to take time.
Yeah.
Getting things switched over, and it's what was the last, I think it was $77,000 for that system, and I get paid, about 200 a month, so I understand for the office staff how much it's worth to them to have that, and how nice it'll be to be able to punch in a address and have a reading immediately, I mean, that part is absolutely excellent. But when you consider the difference of the price, $2,500 a year, can be a lot of years to come up to $80,000. So whatever. But, so we will be putting out, I'm sure that we have to do this all like we always do. We're gonna have to advertise it, put it out for bid, get applications, go through the applicants. So this will take a little time, and I will train the person, whoever is hired, so.
Okay, Jerry.
Was this based on this year's budget?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think it's been on the budget maybe for 3 or 4 years, different years. And I think when it really started, it was around 40,000. and now it's up to 80,000. You know, the way I understand it, it does save, instead of the office personnel, from what I've heard in the past, is that they might take three or 4 days to get it done. And then that adds up on their time too. And also the fact of having all that data, real-time data, we'll be able to use that information to isolate potential issues within our system, because we're gonna have everything at one time. You know, the usage, you know, loss rate and stuff like that mentioned earlier, you know, varies sometimes from 1%, which is really good, you know, up to, you know, sometimes in the past it's been 50%. And it'd be, this new system is something that we definitely need to get.
Yes, sir. Yeah, thanks, Jerry. Yeah. Yeah, so, Terry's, last estimate from a couple of months ago, which expires, so it was estimated on July 15th, expires, October 13th, right around the 80,000, 76,989, so 77,000. That's our estimate. So, yep, it's, something that definitely is on our radar, and something that I think the town would benefit greatly from, for all the reasons Jerry mentioned. So, obviously we have a lot going on with all the other projects, and it kind of fell by the wayside again. So anyways, it's definitely something we can look at. Right. And, so before we move to the next one, I'd like to, I see Mr. Steve out there in the audience. I intended to have, in the new business, the agenda item that we moved from the last meeting to this meeting. So, there was a mix up with when we made this agenda, and I didn't catch it until just now. So we're gonna have to have, your agenda item on, is it the 23rd, the next meeting? And then we'll, I guess we'll have to proceed at that time. So I apologize, I didn't catch that until right now.
Sure, so you guys are moving it for another 2 weeks,
Yes, sir.
and the reason being it would not believe it was published in time?
Well, if you don't mind, I'd like to just, we could talk about this offline.
We should talk about it. Let's talk about it.
It's okay. We can talk about it offline, and I'll let you know what. So,
Good.
I apologize for that.
If you want to give me a call tomorrow morning on that works.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good shit.
Okay, moving on to, excuse me, economic development update from the economic development liaison.
The Connect and Hagby meeting was fairly quiet this week, just really touched on some issues. The Huckster is still contingent for June 6th of next year. One big thing was, and if somebody from Connect or Hagby would like to speak more on this, my knowledge is limited, but the United Way Month of Caring is coming up, and they need submissions for projects for people in need, as I understand. I don't know if Mr. Stiles has any better information than I do on
It wasn't at the last meeting.
Okay.
But they're looking at trying to do something during that time. One of the things we're looking at was an individual that passed away, and maybe try to do some stuff on his property to help that out. But it's in probate or something that can be done. So we're looking at other people. If someone knows someone that needs something done, a fence fixed, you know, maybe a bad roof, you know, something that, you know, a group of citizens can go out and help take care of. So.
And there's fund, the United Ways aspect is there's funds available essentially, right, to help. Is that?
I don't want to say that right
now. All right, there may be, I guess is the safe way to say it. But yeah, so they're just looking for folks who may need somebody who has a hard time taking care of their place for any number of reasons, needs something done, and they just can't get it done themselves.
Yeah. Donna, did you have a comment?
Can I get my hand up for that?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. All right. Very good.
Oh, and sorry, final note, Hagby is still looking for someone who wants to spearhead the child care development program, looking for anybody who wants to try to organize in-house daycares, try to work with the existing daycare system, and just try to help them get the resources they need to make sure that that's a resource available to the citizens. But that was pretty much it. It was a quiet meeting.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you very much for that, Aaron, and appreciate all the time you spend on being our economic development liaison.
Very
I
well.
might have to change that title so I can say it. Anyways, moving right along, finance office. Terry, you have your
So no monthly financials will be at the next meeting. As far as the next update, I just did want to let you know, I did schedule my vacation. I will be going October 22nd to the 28th, so
Well,
I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm going to Oregon,
Well,
so, yeah. And then there's just a couple of mail call items I had. The Western Dakota Regional Water System 5th Annual Membership Meeting is going to be held September 25th. And it's going to be in Keystone, so.
This year?
That should- Yeah,
On the 25th?
Do you have time?
September 25th, 2025.
I went last year.
1 PM.
Okay,
And if somebody wants to go, we're in a presentation, we give at 9, excuse me, 9. Is that right? Registration at 8 and the presentation's beginning at 9. I think you get a lunch, don't you, Linda?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
did you have anything to add on that since you went to the meeting last year?
Just that someone should be there. And if you have the time as board president, I would say that would be a good thing. If not, I maybe could, or I don't know.
Okay.
Anybody else? That someone should be there.
It's at 9 AM.
I know. Registration starts at 8. And then
Well, I don't know if I can make it, but I'll let you know if I can. Okay, very good. Is that it?
And then the other,
No.
I had an incident response planning workshop. I don't know if anybody's interested. I did attend a one Zoom meeting on this. So apparently there's, the state's kind of involved in doing some cybersecurity stuff with our emails and websites and stuff. But I don't know, this is Thursday or Tuesday, September 30th. At the Pennington County Emergency Operations Center. If anybody was in the website, someone might. You just have to register by the 29th.
Right, and you see in parentheses, it says relatively good coffee. If that doesn't get you out there,
Terry, do you have any desire to go to that, or?
I know because I'll
Okay.
be coming back.
first day back from vacation.
Yeah, right. Mhm.
Yeah, no, I wish they had these things
When you
when,
go on vacation, be a good one for you.
No, this is September 30th.
Yeah, this is September. That's what I was gonna say.
Actually,
I wish they had these things during non-working hours, but then it's. that's
They're
their job.
working, so.
I could possibly go on the 30th.
Well, there again, I think somebody should go.
But I have attended, we've had a couple of Zoom meetings. And
Mhm.
Where's it at?
it's at the emergency, it's at the Pennington County Administration Building. Okay.
All righty, is that it?
Yep.
All right, thank you, Terry.
Yeah.
And I'd like to point out too, there was an email from Mike Waldner in the packet. Terry put in there that kind of goes over what the incident response planning is. I apologize if you.
No, you're fine.
So moving right along to 14A, nomination for town attorney position. So there, I don't know if this is an issue, but it may be an issue nominating for a position that's currently held. But I don't see any harm in having a discussion about that. I know the reason why I felt it necessary to move this topic to this meeting was just the last meeting was meant to be a budget meeting and, you know, this topic can be somewhat contentious, I think, so. But we had a nice budget meeting afterwards and got everything done, so. Anyways, I'm not sure who put this one on the agenda, but would you like to begin, Aaron?
Yeah, so I'll take credit for this one.
Okay.
There's a nomination, another nomination for city attorney put in before I was on the board. And over time, I've had many citizens ask me about it and like what happened with that. And so I found out who it was and I looked him up and found out his career history, and I was more than a little bit impressed. So since so many citizens had mentioned to him and mentioned him to me and talked about it, I figured I would nominate him on the behalf of the citizens and give him a chance to speak and tell us what he thinks he would want to bring to the town. And he's, as I understand, a part of the community. So if you'd like a chance to talk to the board.
Okay, I don't see any harm in allowing, is that Mr. James?
Yes.
Allowing Mr. James to come up and present. I mean, I think we'd have to kind of look and see the procedural issues if they exist with nominating for an existing position, but I think the topic was really to address the prior nomination, the prior issue with it not necessarily that you're nominating him tonight for the position, but you or are you?
So essentially, it's a nominee that never got a chance to
Right.
be
Okay.
spoke to, be heard from, and as far so there's a couple of things I can touch on is and we can look at the statutes on it. But as far as appointed positions, we actually can appoint more than one attorney, oddly enough, being a third class municipality or none at all. And as far as contracts, it does turn out there are statutes that require us to have ordinances and such to just govern how we pay attorneys. So that's another thing we'll have to look at. But yeah.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. And again, Mr. James, I apologize for the mix up with the last meeting, but I hear that you don't live too far away, so hopefully you weren't put out too badly.
Well, I appreciate that. It gave me a little extra time to think about what I wanted to say, so. So it worked out okay. I got to do a little bit more of your town business, so. No, yeah, my family and I, we moved here in 2018. So we don't live in the city limits. We live right outside the city limits. I live in Paramount Points, which is north of Dollar General. At one point, my neighborhood was up for annexation, and then they decided not to annex us, so we're not part of your town. But still, I'm part of this community. My kids goes to Hermosa Elementary. My little will be going there soon to go to church in town. And I'm just, we moved here because we love this town. We like this town. That's why we decided to live here. At the time, it was ideal because my in-laws live between Keystone and here. And then my first job that I got when I moved here was I was the Attorney General for the tribe in Pine Ridge. This is kind of the closest town you could reasonably live in and still have a reasonable distance to go there. Still quite a drive, but I made that drive for 4 years, and then I decided I had enough of that. And then I opened up an office in Custer. So, I'm here, I'm really a low drama person. There seems like there's a lot of drama in this town. I don't know why. It's like 110% more drama than I think there probably should be. But anyway, I'm very, I just, I call the balls and strikes like I see them. I don't play favorites. I don't know. That was one thing that really, I really think that helped me a lot when I was the Attorney General for the tribe, because I go into that community. I mean, it's not easy being a white person, an outsider, and going and talking. You think there's drama in this, this meeting? Go to a, Ogallala council meeting, see what kind of shouting and stuff happens in those. But to be there and, be able to get along with folks, talk to them and be able to, my rule is just treat people like you want to be treated. And if you do that, everything else kind of takes care of itself. That's kind of just my rule. I've always done that my whole career, whether that was talking to the clerk at the courthouse, that some attorneys may look down on people, whatever. It's like you just treat people like you want to be treated, and that's what you do. So some of my experience, just so you know. So I was what's called the county counselor. I was the county attorney for a county in Greensburg, Kansas. So that's community. It's Kiowa County is the name of the county. It's about 3,000 people that live there. And this county had a lot of challenges because in 2007, the entire town of Greensburg was wiped out by EF5 tornado. So a tornado went through there, very slow moving tornado. That's the worst that do the most damage, and it leveled 96% of buildings in town. So they had to, I was not the attorney at the time that happened, but I did become the county attorney a little later than that. And in Kansas, which I think maybe there was confusion on this, the county, when I was the county attorney for a county that size, I had both the criminal and the civil duties. I mean, I did everything criminally for the county. I did everything civilly for the county. So that means that I sat at every board meeting with my commissioners. I talked about a lot of roads. Talked about roads all the time. We talked about HR issues. We talked about, changing ordinances, those kind of things. But the same kind of things you do here, right? It's the kind of things we do every day in these meetings. So, being part of those meetings, we had a lot of these real challenges there. I'll just highlight two of the challenges that I helped them to solve when I was there. So, we had a perpetual issue with our local hospital. So a local hospital there in Kiowa County was funded by taxpayers. It was not a public facility, run by a private facility, but they had a tax mill levy on the county. And so, that people wanted to know what was happening with their tax dollars at that hospital. You had some issues where people were driving around hospital vehicles, and loading up personal items and stuff and, using it to move. And so people were like, what's going on with this hospital? And so our county commissioner started asking questions like, hey, what's going on with this? What's going on with our money that's going to this hospital? And the county hospital kind of bowed up and said, well, our attorneys say we don't have to give you nothing. We're not giving you any records. We're not going to share anything or whatever. And so we said, well, look, the Kansas Open Records Act says you got to give, these are taxpayer money's going to you. You have to account for those dollars. And they disagreed with us. We went all the way to the Kansas Supreme Court. And Kansas Supreme Court said we were right. They got to give us those records. But we were button heads with them. We had to win. So that was just something that I had to go through and do. When there was a tough challenge, and we were able to do that. And another situation, it's again we were rebuilding, and so there was a community that a company that built a museum for the county. It was a historical museum for the county. And one of the weird things about the Greensburg rebuild was it was all done environmentally standard. It was a LEED standard, environmental, because they argued, well, if you're building it from nothing, then it's actually kind of cost effective. If you're kind of retrofitting, it's not cost effective. But since they were doing it from nothing, they did it all LED, which caused a lot of problems because all the people who knew how to fix stuff were from Colorado or California. Nobody locally could actually fix stuff. But anyway, they built this museum, and one of the things they had an idea was, well, we're going to have a rubberized membrane on the roof. We're going to put a garden terrace on the roof. We'll water it, and it'll be like an environmental feature for this museum. And so, it sounds great. And then one day I get a call from the museum, hey, it's raining inside our museum. There's water coming into our museum, and it's raining our exhibits, and stuff's getting ruined. Well, what do we do? So, I had to go back, and I found the company that had done this job, and not only had they done the job, they were proud of the job. They put it on their website. Look at this great job we did in the Greensburg Museum. And so, I was like, I think we can use that. Hey, if you guys are so proud of this, why don't you come fix it, basically? So I'm real nice about it and say, hey, why don't you, rather than us doing the crap out of you, why don't you come back and help the stuff you're so proud of. We ought to be able to resolve that without a lawsuit. But anyway, this is some of the things I did. And I don't want to take up too much. You had a lot of stuff, business still to do, but I just wanted to tell you that I'm here because I think I can help your community. I think I can help this board. I think I can help with what I have to offer. I don't want to talk. I don't want to discourage anybody else when I make these comments. I know Mr. Hag a little bit. We've had cases together. I've talked to him before on the phone. I think I'm on somewhat friendly terms with him. I don't know him that well, but I will say for billing purposes, I mean, I'm a pretty conservative biller. I'm not here because I need the money. Okay. I mean, my business is doing fine in Custer. I got clients coming out of my ears. I have to turn people down all the time. So I'm only here because I care about where I live. And I hate it. It pains me to see when I open the Custer County Chronicle and there's some article about look at what's going on in town. I feel bad. I wish I could help them with that situation. I wish I could help them get through it. And so, if I can help to do that, that's what I'm trying to do. But, I'll tell you one thing, I sure won't, I'm not gonna be charging you for 200 and something copies, I'll tell you that. So I don't know what that's about, but I'm electronic, so everything I do is scanned electronically and put in the cloud. So I don't do paper anymore. But anyway, I mean, I would be willing to provide the town as much or as little legal assistance as you want. So, if you, I don't need to be here at every meeting, you don't be sitting in this thing, it's kind of nice and convenient sometimes for you to have an attorney sitting here, because if something comes up, you can kind of turn and go, hey, what do you think? That's kind of nice, but you got maybe in the budget situation where it's a little bit of a luxury that you can't afford right now. So I kind of get that, and that's fine, but if so if you want me to be billing a la carte or whatever, and I can certainly do that. I can work it in my, my workload, and there's something you need answered. If there's a meeting specifically, you say, hey, I want that guy at that meeting. This is going to be contentious, and we want to have him, ready to turn around and give us an answer. Then I'm happy to attend whatever meeting you want me to attend. But I would only, I'm very mindful of budgetary constraints, and I ran again when I was the county attorney in Kiowa County. I had a budget, I had a budget there. I don't think I ever went over my budget. I think I was in my budget every year I was there. And if I'd gone over my budget in half a year, I'd be feeling pretty embarrassed about that. I would have wanted to come to you guys before, probably a quarter of the time into the year, and say, hey, I'm on pace to blow through this budget. You guys want to adjust how we're doing this? Because I think that would have that would have been my approach. But anyway, if you have any questions you want to answer, I'll stand for your questions. But I appreciate you letting me address this board, and I'm just here because I'm a part of this community and I care about the town.
Yes, sir. Before we get to questions, I would just like to observe that I do like attorneys that talk fast. You get a lot of money. I think we could do 10, maybe 15 minutes of questions if you all are interested. And we can start with the board. Does anyone on the board have a question for Mr. James?
Well, I'd just like to make a comment.
Yeah.
I think, can I make a comment, or am I supposed to have a question?
You can make a comment, but let's just try to focus the discussion on Mr. James
Right.
and what he may have
No,
been able to do for us.
But I think as a board member, and we were nominated by the citizens, and the citizens have made it very clear that they want a new attorney. And I think that we need to look at it very strongly.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Is there any other comment or question from the board, and we'll take it to this input? Aaron?
If you don't mind, I kind of like to put you on the spot, but I'm sure you're used to it.
I am.
What do you think is the number one most important obligation of a city attorney?
I think that the most important obligation is to be transparent and accountable for what you do. So, and that's really it. And, so if I can't defend to the public what I'm doing with their money or their time or the project, I shouldn't have done. I shouldn't be doing.
Yes.
And again, when I was the attorney general for the tribe, I mean, I didn't care if you were the lowliest person in Pine Ridge, homeless person that wanted to come in and talk to me, and my door was open. I would talk to you. I'd bring in and we'd say, what's going on today? What can I do to help? So I think that's, that to me is the most important thing is how you conduct yourself, and that people have confidence, in you doing it that way.
Okay, thank you. Any Linda or Shannon?
My question would be, do you have any municipal experience?
So that's interesting. I don't want to revisit old times here, but we had a discussion on the phone the last time this happened, and that was the same question you posed to me back then.
It is.
And it was a perplexing question to me because, again, the type of law you're talking about is basically administrative law for a municipal body. And the types of things you do for municipality are you take up ordinance issues, road issues, HR issues, those type of issues, right? Those are the exact same things you do when you're a county council. It's not any different type of law. It's the same type of law. There's no area of law I'd have to master that I would not be familiar with to take on, to run a county of 3,000 people that I wouldn't have learned there that, I would struggle with here to understand.
I would like to say that I have talked to many attorneys because we have been in need of attorneys several times while I have been on the board. And so I have called and talked to different ones, and most of them, the majority of them, say that there is a definite difference between municipal, county, tribal, and regular, and that's why a lot of them will not take on municipalities. Now you're willing, and that's the first step, I think, that you're willing to do that. And I'm glad to hear that. And before, I don't think we knew anything about your county experience. You had discussed your tribal experience. And so I'd like to thank you for coming forward with that.
Sure. I think that was in my letter, I wrote, because I believe I highlighted my county experiences in my letter that I wrote to the board, but, appreciate that.
Okay, I don't see any other comments. Andrea, did you have your hand up at this?
Yeah, I just had a question about how you feel or how you would approach or how you would do it. If there were somebody on the board that wanted you to represent them, but you sat here every night, would you represent them or would you recuse type thing and not?
No, you have to be pretty mindful of
Yeah.
conflicts of interest when you're in.
So you would be in business.
And, because I'm not gonna stop running my private law firm in Custer, and oftentimes I get people who are citizens of Hermosa that come to me with problems. Just so that, to be transparent, as I said I would be, I do have one case right now where I've literally sued the town of Hermosa, right? But it's not really the normal type of lawsuit that you can kind of think of in this situation. It's what's called a quiet title action. Basically, there's property that's a dispute about who's the proper owner. Whenever you do that, you basically sue everybody that has an interest, right? So if I think that the town of Hermosa might have fined this property or something, I have to name it just because you have a right as the town to maybe weigh in that proceeding and say whatever. And so if I were named in this position, I'd have to withdraw from that case and have to recuse from any further discussion of that case when I was in this position. So but yeah, I mean, if there's a town board member who's having, I don't know, maybe don't wish this to anybody, but a town board has a DUI or something, right? Come to me, hey, I'm in trouble. Can you help me? I'll probably say, well, I can refer you to somebody. I know some good people that can help you out, but because of my position on the town board, it would be awkward for me to be in that position. I can't take it. It's not just a legal conflict; it's a perception of a conflict too. It's a problem. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Andrea. Is there any other question or comment from the audience? Connie?
this is just an observation, but with him living in Paramount Point, the money that we would save alone in what Mr. Haig charges us to drive back and forth from Rapid City per hour. That adds up a lot.
Well, I certainly wouldn't charge you to drive across the highway.
I'm sure you're like both ways.
Give you the ride.
Thanks for that comment, Connie. Kathy, and then I think Jerry had his hand up.
Okay, I was just wondering, we aren't really under a contract per se with the attorney that we have right now. I like the things that he's saying, and I think he could do a lot for our community. I really do. And I don't know what the harm would be. I really don't.
Okay, thanks, Kathy. Jerry?
I'd just like to go along with what Donna said, and I appreciate you saying that, Donna. And I know Mark was involved. There are many, many citizens that are not happy with the current, what we're getting out of our current attorney. And I don't want to go into detail on stuff, but there is a dissatisfaction. And you guys are up there elected by the citizens. And we really think that as the citizens and how we can voice our concerns when things aren't met right, you do that at the next election. I really think this is an opportunity right now to change into a new attorney. And I think it's an opportunity to really start fresh and move our town forward. We got pretty much a new board up there. There's some of the people that's been around for a while, but in all, Donna's less than 2 years, maybe 3 years. We got a young board. Al, you're new. I really think this is an opportunity to just start fresh and move forward. And everybody says, well, we don't want to go to the past, but I really think a new attorney will help. So the past will be the past.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Do we have any other comments or questions, Mark?
Just a question. Kind of a weird one.
Okay.
Have you ever been sanctioned, censured, or disciplined by the board?
I've not.
By the board?
No.
That seems like a good step in the right direction.
Sure does.
Great. Thank you, Mark. Is there any other comments or questions for Mr. James? Okay, I don't see any others. One more from Jerry.
I just like, Mr. James, thank you very much for coming. I know that you put in before and last week's meeting, I'm really happy that you came. So thank you very much.
The first you don't succeed, right?
All right, thank you for that, and I do appreciate everybody. We had a really nice discussion on that, on something that was previously kind of a hot button issue. So thank you for everyone for having a nice discussion. So very good. So let's move on to 14B, second reading, chapter 91 of the nuisance ordinances.
Didn't get in the packet.
What's that?
It didn't get in the packet. So it's
Okay.
separate.
I do have a copy up here. Like we did at the first reading, I think what I'll do is read the headings and then read the substantial changes in the sections that do have changes. They don't all have changes, and I don't know that it would be good use of our time to read the whole thing. Jerry?
Were there changes, were there any changes made from the first reading to this?
No, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you for asking. Okay, so chapter 91, public nuisances. So what I'll do is I'll read through the headings and then I'll read the heading that has a substantial change and then make note of what that substantial change is from what to what. So chapter 91, public nuisances, section 91.01 definitions, section 91.02 prohibited conditions, section 91.03 enforcement authority, section 91.04 notice to abate, section 91.05 abatement by town authority, section 91.06 abatement by town cost assessment, section 91.07 not notification guidelines, section 91.08 exceptions, section 91.09 application, section 91.10 complaints, section 91.11 conflicts with other laws, and section 91.99 penalty. So the next section that has a substantial change is in 91.03 enforcement authority, where we added including photographs of violations and with photographic documentation. And so I will read that paragraph as it now sits. Board of Trustees may appoint an authorized agent for the purpose of performing inspections, providing appropriate notifications of violations, including photographs of violations, conducting enforcement and abatement action as may be required to ascertain compliance with ordinances of the town, and obtaining legal counsel as required. Detailed reports with photographic documentation of all action taken by the appointed enforcement authority will be provided at each regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. Section 91.04 notice to abate. Only section A has a change. The addition of or by a documented phone call. So that section reads 91.04 notice to abate A. The Board of Trustees or the duly authorized agent is authorized and empowered to notify in writing or by a documented phone call the owner of any lot, place, or area within the town or the agent of the owner and the occupant of the premises to cut, destroy, or remove any weeds, tall grass, noxious matter, or nuisance found growing, lying, or located on the property or upon the public way abutting same. I don't see any other changes until we get to section 91.10 complaints. The addition of or town office staff, the omission of or verbal, the addition of remain confidential, and the removal of be anonymous. So the section now reads 91.10 complaints. A, should any member of the town board of trustees or or town office staff receive a written complaint, a trustee on the town board shall within 2 days investigate the complaint and make immediate determination of the required action, and so notify both the plaintiff and owner of the determination. The complaint shall be required before any courtesy notice or abatement action shall be initiated and shall remain confidential. And I believe that includes all the changes that were made to the public nuisance ordinance. Very good. So we're on the second reading, so we need to vote for these changes, right, Terry? Okay. So would anyone like to make the motion to adopt these changes?
I make a motion, we accept the changes that have been read to the second reading for the public nuisance ordinance.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Donna makes a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second for discussion.
Aaron seconds for discussion. Okay. Would you like to open up the discussion?
Yeah, so we I think we've all input a little bit. I just wanted to point out my thoughts on something that I really wanted tweaked. The removal of verbal complaint might seem for some frustrating, for some arbitrary, but it's hard to keep track of everything people say to us. And having it on paper is kind of an important step in the right direction to make sure things don't get lost, and so they don't get lost in translation or misinterpreted or misunderstood. And also the change from be anonymous to remain confidential. I've gotten complaints that said, they have the question, do you want to be notified of what the decision of the board is? And it says yes, and then it says anonymous, and I don't know how to notify an anonymous person of what the solution was. So I think more appropriate is remain confidential, and for anybody concerned about that, I think it is important for everybody to remember that as board of trustees members, we are bound to hold confidential information in confidence. So if that pretty much makes it so yes, this information will be confidential, so you can report things to the board without worrying about it coming back on you in any reprisal sort of fashions.
Right. Or town office staff.
Or town office, yes, definitely, or town office staff. Yeah. That's good.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody else wants to. There's some other stuff in there.
Very good. Any discussion or comment from the board member? Any comment or discussion from anyone in the audience? Kathy?
Yeah, so who holds the board responsible for notifying people of their complaint? Because I know for a fact that there's people that complaints that have never been addressed.
This in here.
It says 2 days.
Trina,
Or,
did you have an answer for that question?
well, I was will these be things that are put into our new, ticketing system so that we can keep track of how many complaints on a particular property and that type of thing?
Yeah, I believe, well, I think that's our intent, is to track complaints, although, the confidential part will have to see how, figure out how that's going to go in the system, but Aaron?
Yeah, I think Anthony, he may be able to speak on this a little bit, but as it goes, the Silversmith software we use to track this is only being accessed by town employees and town officers. But Anthony had mentioned something about a public facing version of it. Is it a possibility? But as far as it's concerned, the information in there doesn't get shared. It's internal. So something like this, if it's entered, should be kept confidential. right?
Okay,
Yeah.
question? Are you asking Anthony a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's confidential, so I control the users. And I control the access the users have, but it's based on my user's email. And that's just the subscription we have. Silversmith has other, like, formula of their subscription. If we wanted to talk to them about what they could have, that would be like public facing, it would be view only and only certain information. We can dial up and down what is viewed and what's not viewed. It's all on the cloud, so it's all through the browser.
Okay, and then, to Kathy's point, or to Kathy's question that she asked, if you do have a complaint that you don't feel was addressed, please resubmit it in writing. And then, we'll address it. You know, I mean, as far as holding the board accountable, I mean, it's kind of, up to the citizens to hold the board accountable, right? And so at the end of the day, it's in elections is how the board is held accountable. But obviously, you all being here tonight is one way that you're holding us accountable as well. And I know that I do appreciate everybody coming here, giving us feedback, letting us know where you're at, what you guys are thinking about, what's important to you, because I know at the end of the day, when I'm not sitting here and I'm doing my regular work, you know, a lot of things get missed. So anyways, I just wanted to reiterate that appreciation for you all being here. So anyway, Jana?
My comment was just if you submit a complaint and you don't hear back, or the board hasn't addressed it, you can certainly request to be put on the agenda, and it will be addressed immediately by the entire board.
Yeah, that's a great answer too.
Yeah.
Okay, Trina, did you have one more question or?
No, I didn't realize Anthony was here. I did some homework on that system and it is pretty secure, so I was just gonna say that, but he'll.
Okay, Kathy, did you have something?
No, it's Connie. I
Oh,
didn't realize
sorry,
that
Connie.
Anthony was gonna take care of that, so.
Okay, all right, thank you. Jana?
As far as wording, I guess I just have one question. We're on section 9110, paragraph A. When they receive the written complaint, a trustee on the town board shall within 2 days investigate the complaint, make an immediate determination of the required action, and so notify the plaintiff and the owner. But normally, whatever needs to be done, if a letter needs to be sent, you would direct your finance officer to send that out or call them, and that kind of bypasses it. Do you need something in there? Or is this intended to be directly from the board member?
It says a trustee on the town board.
Right, and notify both, so would I make a determination, call the owner and say, yep, I looked at it, you're gonna be getting a letter? Or as this reads, or would your notification be that letter that you had the finance officer mail out to them regarding the violation? You know, that goes in your notices.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm just questioning. It says, make the immediate determination of required action and so notify both the plaintiff and owner of the determination. That's putting it directly on the town board to notify both people, I would assume verbally or by mail, rather than hearing a response from the town. That's a blanket. Is what's my word I'm looking for.
Well, I don't know if specific procedure needs to be in here, but Aaron, did you have a comment or question on?
Yeah, no, I definitely see it says required action. It needs to be thinking about it. It needs to not point at that being that board member who received the complaint just determines what to do and
Right.
takes the action.
Okay.
It needs, and because the item B, should the complaint be declared valid, the town board of trustees upon majority vote may giving a. So I think determination of validity.
So that it gets to the next meeting.
Yeah. So
Well,
instead of determination of required action, determination of validity.
Well, the validity is determined in
Or-
section B upon majority vote of the town board.
So how do we,
I think
Be
maybe the
repeated.
required action could be added to the agenda, or maybe there's no action or something like that. I mean, I guess we can, if you don't want to pass this language tonight, we can kick this to a work session and discuss it further. So, Mark, did you have anything to add?
Just reading through it, complaints 91.10 and enforcement authority 9103. You're gonna look at it, I'd look at the language there too, because they kind of walk on each other a little bit. 9103 that says, an authorized agent that the board appoints can do this, 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 and this. But then in 9110, it specifically says that a member of the board of trustees has to go out and do it. It's contradictory.
9110 is in response to complaints. And then 9103 is just talking about the enforcement authority.
Okay, but then 9110 goes into talking about determining required action, and yeah, you're walking two paragraphs right into each other, and they contradict on who has the authority to do it.
Mhm.
Okay, well, should we let this one fail? And then we can revisit this at a later time?
I think. we
How,
should.
I do too, but how long do we have with the publishing and all that? I mean, extra cost, redoing the whole thing with publishing,
The
so.
readings just have to be, I think, at least 5 days apart or something. And then once you do that second reading, then it has to be published as entirety in the, so I don't think there's any.
So,
restrictions.
okay,
It's
yeah, I think it should be
between the first and
revisited.
second reading, I think is the time for this.
Okay, so, it sounds like like to revisit this further, so let's call for the vote. And if you let this fail, then we can revisit it at a later time. So all those in favor? All opposed?
Aye.
Aye. 5 opposed. Motion fails, and we will revisit this at a later time. Do we want to set a work session to look at this specifically?
Yeah,
Can we
might
go
as
for
well.
next week?
Get it done.
So how about Tuesday nights? Is that okay for everybody?
Just as good as any other night.
Okay, and I know there's been some comment about the time. Should we do 6 or 5:30?
It's fine if not.
Yeah, I think that citizens, at least with the budget meetings, it became a concern for them having the earlier meetings because they come in from work. And the citizens helped out just in the couple minutes we talked about it tonight. So I think when we do this work session, I think it would be a good one for the citizens to be involved in. So making sure they can attend, I think would be good.
Okay, so
6 I would say.
6 p.m. Does that sound good to everybody? All right, great. Well, chapter. Great, so we'll see you all at 6 in a week for the work session on chapter 91 public nuisances. So thank you very much for all your input, and let's move on to new business. First reading ordinance 2.078 appropriating funds for the fiscal year 2026. Have some water first. Okay. Town of Hermosa ordinance 2.078, an ordinance appropriating funds for the fiscal year 2026. Section 1, and we're on 15A towards the back of the packet.
15.
Yes, ma'am. Right there. Section 1, be it ordained by the town of Hermosa that the following sums are appropriated to meet the financial needs of the municipality for the fiscal year 2025. General government, Sales tax, $279,158.00. Property tax, $75,000.00. Other miscellaneous tax, $150.00. Licenses, $3,000.00. Permits, $2,500.00. State shared, $5,000.00. County shared, $12,000, $12,500.00. Animal license, $500.00. Interest, miscellaneous, and donations, $15,000.00. Rentals, $2,400.00. Liquor operating, $26,000.00. Garbage collection, $56,000.00. In the water department, there is nothing listed for permits right now. Operating revenue, $211,000 and 211, excuse me, $211,500.00. Surcharge revenue, $4,600.00. Miscellaneous revenue, $22,000.00. And nothing listed in the transfer in. Sewer department permits, nothing listed. Operating revenue, $149,974.00. Surcharge revenue, $93,392.00. Miscellaneous revenue, $8,000. Grants and or loans, $350,000 with no transfers in. And the debt service, there is no amount listed for the TIF district, the property tax, penalty, interest, or other taxes, or unassigned fund balance. So the totals for general are $477,208.00. Total for water is $238,100.00. Total for sewer, $601,366.00. Total for debt service is $0. Total for gross receipts is $18,000.00.
Was that the B&B? Yes.
With a total amount of $1,334,674.00. And for section 2, the following designates the fund or funds to which the money derived from the following sources is applied. General government, town board is $33,669.00. Election board, $3,320.00. Planning and zoning, $20,000. Finance office and administration, $151,707.00. Street department, $78,951.00. Garbage collection, $61,500.00. Public safety, law enforcement, $74,302.00. For professional fees, attorney for $24,000.00. Engineering and planning, $25,000.00. Building inspector, $0.00. Government buildings, $4,759.00. And in the water department, water expenses, $238,100.00, with nothing listed for capital improvement expenses, nothing listed for transfer out. Sewer department, sewer expenses, $601,366.00. Capital improvement expenses, nothing listed. transfer out, nothing listed. Debt service. I believe it's for Hermosa administration. expense.
Yeah, and there is gonna be a correction, I apologize. So there should be, on the revenue side, for debt service, there should be 18,000 in there. I apologize, under debt service, because if you look, and then on the expenses, there's gonna be 18,000 for debt services, and then there's gonna be another, rest of fees is all fees. If you notice, it's total stint match.
The debt
This
service
total
for
should match
general.
that,
Oh,
and I missed the 18,000, so
do we need to fix it and reread it at the next meeting then?
probably, they're probably best.
Okay.
Corrected, because I apologize, I what's that? Because we did talk about putting some money for it to help next year.
Oh.
Late, and I missed it on the revenue side, 18,000, so.
My other question, if I can ask quick, what is the grant on a sewer? 350,000.
That's our clean water, that's a rough. It's like 700,000, we figured 350 this year and 350 next year.
Is that a water project
No, that one's a sewer.
for next year?
Yeah, it's 700,000, and so the way we had it split was between 25 and 26, we do.
What about our water project then?
Well, we haven't closed on that yet, so I don't know what that amount is. We've actually closed on this one.
Right. But shouldn't we still be budgeting for it next year?
Well,
Are we not going through with it?
we are, but then we'd also have to put expenses in it too.
And we don't know
We
that.
don't know what
Capital
those are.
improvement expense. We don't have any estimates from Anthony on that? Or just add it when we do the project?
Yeah, I think we can wait until we have the real figures myself, but
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Terry, when you get those done, can you
Yeah.
please email them to
Yep,
us?
I
And
will.
then if
So I apologize.
anyone has any questions, we can address them then.
Is there any way we could maybe relabel the gross receipts to add like B and B in front of it or on top of it or something?
Yep.
So that.
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't know what that's for.
If there's any other changes you'd like to make, can you email them to
Yeah,
Terry?
sure. I just had a few
And,
questions for it.
That's fine, no worries. All right, well, so I guess we'll move on to 15B.
I had a question.
Oh, Aaron?
Would everybody mind like a 5-minute recess? We're at the 2-hour mark.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's do a 8-minute recess.
8. That's a cool
Okay,
number.
and we'll reconvene back at 8:10. Good idea.
Yeah.
You need me to scare you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I will be done probably.
We only have the few.
It's enough for another I can giggle.
Yeah, I don't think so much about.
I need my legs.
My legs.
United, whatever. See, that's the thing, I don't know a lot about it, because we had a coffee shop, I'm a pretty good person. She's the secretary for the Cuban People's Blood Zone, yeah, they have a list of maybe the Facebook page, that's my United Way, May, money that my son did, whatever project, but they're trying to like solutions. Yeah, yeah. I've heard about it in houses, and I'm working on in long hair, probably like regular, but the things that are like, so they can't shit on. Yes, I was talking about Lena and Brian.
Oh, it's twice.
There.
At all these guys do fight.
So depending again on how bad.
Not when I want to tell me. Right. Oh. Oh, yeah, we were. We were on a stage. Didn't get around. That's how I feel. I always wanted a golf cart. I thought that would be really handy. But I wouldn't have a second, no. But it's a little. Look, I did take a little learning. Of course, on our gravel roads, that's probably just. But then there's that too, yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness, really? Change on your wheel? Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I always thought a little golf cart would be handy, you know? Yeah. Ride it on the street. Oh, yeah, oh, I'm sure, yeah, all that crap, yeah. Make it look, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Right behind me. Yeah. Okay.
I don't like. I don't need it. That's right. At least 50% of the time. I'm with you.
I think we brought stuff to you
And then they claim being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that was.
It's been a auto parts store the other day. I think my.
Scary.
Yeah.
Well, they had the urinal in one, and the other one.
You know, I think it was close to 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Between them on a really.
I got to do that.
So,
Yeah.
and I had to do that. I was like,
You know, that day and go do a second.
you at home.
As long as you can leave, you know.
Oh, but I had.
Right name in the smell, I can't do that.
As a matter of fact, my neighbor was doing something. And I was like, you know, this one. Yeah, it was like, I went home for. Really old. It all goes home. Oh, yeah. If I was trying to be.
Oh.
Yes. It was very, very hard. You know.
Yeah.
4 to 6 years ago. Yeah. You know, you know, the ward kind of. You only left for a month. You know, that's why I changed my whole Yeah. I like it. I like it.
Oh, maybe that's. 2 years. Well, at least the next year. That's what we'll do is every year we'll block out a certain amount of footage from this year's house.
Yeah, they gave it flats.
I'll do that and then we'll let it out. But, so I'm not.
And they told me that it was feasible.
Yeah, so. Always on. But yeah.
No, I'm just gonna have this on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be. I gotta see it, see it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Couple more responsibilities. This city's got.
But I don't, like I do say, like, it's a garden, like, you know, what it's not, but. And he's like, I know, I feel like.
Doing the contract.
Well, we
Look at it.
because we were kind of, you know. I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I still want. I think that we should get
I mean, that would be definitely something to talk about. Just add this to the work session.
I got it. Yes.
Hey, Aaron.
If you want to hear the meeting, come on in, please. Sorry, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Now, 8:11, we'll reconvene after that brief 8-minute recess. Next item on the agenda is approved new contract for Ferguson, but I was notified that that they're not ready to have the board consider it at this time, and also that we can put it on the work session for next week and talk numbers and stuff like that. So we'll move that to the work session.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting us know. On September 16th.
That's when we, oh, yeah, that's what we're saying.
Yep. Okay, next one up is resolution 07-2025 sewer surcharge rate for wastewater treatment plant. That's item 15C. Let's go ahead and we'll do the first reading on this.
This is one reading in
Oh,
its
yeah.
entirety.
Thank you. So resolution 07-2025, town of Hermosa surcharge for a wastewater treatment plant. This is a resolution amending the town's rate structure, providing for a surcharge for a wastewater treatment plant for payment of a revenue borrower bond and yearly review of rate. Be it resolved by the town board of trustees of the town of Hermosa as follows: surcharge for borrower bond. There shall be charged a monthly surcharge for the services provided by the improvement financed by the CW-03 Conservancy District loan. The surcharge for each loan shall be segregated from other revenues of the town and shall be used for the payment of the borrower bond CW-03, also known as the borrower bond, provided that such surcharge shall create net income remaining from time to time after first paying all reasonable and current expenses of maintenance, repairs, replacements, and operation, sufficient to fund interest, reserve, and debt service fund annual requirements. 2, rates and collection. The town does hereby establish a special charge or surcharge payable by each customer of its system who receives or benefits from the services of the project financed with the borrower bond. Such charge or surcharge shall be set at a level which, assuming a 10% delinquency rate, will produce income at the times and in amounts sufficient to pay, when due, the principal of and interest on the borrower bond and the administrative expense surcharge and all other payments as may be required under the loan agreement and borrower bond. 3, borrower bond surcharge. The following clean water debt service surcharge shall be applicable to all customers served. Borrower bond CW-03 surcharge to $12.80 per user per month. This surcharge shall remain in effect until such time as the revenue bond is paid in full. The initial surcharge shall be collected at the same time as other charges of the system. The charge is found to be equitable for the services provided by the improvements. Segregation. The debt service surcharge shall be segregated, from other income of the system in a separate bookkeeping account and is pledged to the South Dakota Conservancy District for the payment of the loan payments on the borrower bond. 5, yearly review. The amount of the surcharge shall be reviewed from year to year and may be modified in order to provide such funds as are set forth herein. The charges shall be reviewed yearly by the town and administratively adjusted upwards or downwards to such amounts as may be necessary to pay principal, interest, administrative surcharge, and other charges as may be come due and owing under the loan agreement or borrower bond. 6, billing and accounting. The surcharges shall be included in the monthly user bill. Nothing contained herein requires the surcharge be indicated on the billing. However, the surcharge segregation shall be indicated on the books of the town. 7, automatic repeal. The surcharge for the borrower bond shall be automatically repealed when the borrower bond is paid in full. 8, partial invalidity. If any one or more of the provisions of the shall be held invalid, illegal, or unenforceable in any respect by final decree of any court of law, any court of lawful jurisdiction, such invalidity, illegality, or unenforceability shall not affect any other provision hereof.
There was that one typo we just had there.
Yeah.
What needs to go in that space? Borrower bond?
I don't know. This was the same as the last one. So
Make a motion, we accept as presented. What the typo was corrected.
Yeah, provisions of the shall be held invalid. Should that be in between the and shall? Is that borrower bond that's supposed to plug in?
Well, wouldn't it be resolution? Anyone? Any one or more of the provision
Of this, of,
resolution?
Any one or more of the provisions. I think you just remove of the Any one or more of the provisions shall be held invalid.
Oh, right. Strike out of the,
Legal or unenforceable in any respect, if I don't have any court.
Should it be, if any one or more of these provisions shall be held invalid?
I don't know if it's necessary, but
Provisions of the resolution.
you know, of the, you can change, the to these.
I think if we strike out of the, any one or more of the provisions shall be held invalid,
Right.
it implies the resolution, right?
Mhm.
So let's strike out of that. I'm not sure how that got in there. Okay,
I'll second that motion.
okay, motion to approve with these, the strikeout of the first sentence of section 8. Linda seconds. Any discussion on this one? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Approved.
Just like to apologize to the public that it has to be done, but it has to be done.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's the treatment plan as it said.
Yeah,
So,
unfortunate.
15D, approve application for permit to occupy right of way for the 2025 Christmas parade. And this is another one of those deals from the Department of Transportation where.
It's true, and then I love all.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Linda makes the motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Aaron seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, item 15E, PW Saloon 90-day notice to cancel operating agreement. I think before we proceed, we have to rescind that former motion,
Yes.
or
Well,
should we vote to move it to the next one?
Either way.
Because I think there was a misunderstanding of this one being on this agenda versus the next one, but I see Moritz and Andrea are here, so.
Yeah, because we talked about this license like every meeting, and we had agreed that it wasn't supposed to be until the second meeting in September, but we have been here every meeting now.
Right.
So like, we need to figure it out, because this is ridiculous.
Right, and I do apologize for that, and I know that for tonight, it was a clerical error, as we mentioned, for the other ones too, so, yes, ma'am.
I do want to know though, and I guess this is a question for you. Why are you discussing, so you're on the board, you're the president. You are supposed to be unbiased on this board, so I'm just curious why you and Hank are reaching out to this attorney for Pringles and having so much communication with them. What should happen is if you guys want to cancel and give me the 90-day notice, great, that's your job, that's what you do on the board. But communicating with their attorneys, somebody's in somebody's pocket and somebody's gonna get caught on somebody's lint in that pocket. And when it all comes out, because it's all on recording, it's not gonna be good for certain individuals. You guys are on the board, you work for the citizens. I have no idea why communication is happening. And I'll be curious to watch the beginning of this video, since that attorney had something to say to some town members sitting in here about waiting around. If you stick around long enough, you'll see what I'm gonna do.
Okay, well, so I guess since you guys are here, I mean, I think it's okay if we address it now. So really, this is more of a, Joan, did you have a comment?
I do, just to clarify, the attorney at the time was sitting in a chair over here, there was a gentleman sitting here who introduced himself to everyone around him, including the attorney. Asked the attorney, what are you doing here? The attorney said, if you stick around, you'll find out. That was what was discussed, period.
All right, well, let's move on to the item on the agenda. So really, this is more of an administrative thing. I mean, because of the ongoing thing that's going on.
Well, I feel like the town's getting involved with it. If you wanna do my 90-day cancellation, great, but this isn't a courtroom. We don't need to bring attorneys in. Like, if they wanna take it to court, send me something.
Can we just move along with it?
I don't know, can we?
Yeah, let's do that. So,
Every
the
Tuesday.
90-day notice to cancel. I'm just introducing the topic so everybody's aware of what's going on. So from the board's perspective, we have an operating agreement with TW Saloon for the address in question. And, due to some unfortunate events outside of the board's control, they are no longer able to operate under that agreement. And so it's basically an administrative step to provide the 90-day notice to cancel, excuse me, per the agreement itself. So in the agreement, there is a provision that if either party wishes to cancel, then they have to give the other one 90 days. So that's what we're looking at doing here, or that's what is on the agenda. So at this time, if anyone would like to make the motion to cancel the operating agreement, Shannon?
First, I'd like to apologize. I know you've been here over and over. The meeting that there was some discussion because they brought it to us. And we did shut it down for that purpose because you were told the second meeting in September. It was a clerical error that it wound up on the first meeting in September instead of the second. And because of that, if we're gonna issue the 90-day notice, I think it should be dated as such because the 90 days that by the end of September would be the end of the year, October, November, December. So in my opinion, if we do this, it should be until, December 31st. If we
Okay.
make a motion to do that so that we're within what we originally agreed to. And I apologize if you were out trucking. I mean, that was my argument, that if you had left town with the understanding that we weren't going to address it again until the next meeting, we could certainly do that because that was the agreement. If we're both here now, I think that we should act on it as if it was 2 weeks later, give them that extra 2 days. It's the only fair solution in my opinion. That's how we're going to move forward with it.
I would agree with that. I'll second that motion.
Okay, Shannon makes a motion to provide the 90-day notice beginning at, what date would that be?
The next meeting is on the 23rd.
So beginning 9/23.
We just provide a notice for October 31st. Like you have to give at least 90 days. We're giving more than that. And
You
we,
mean September 30th?
well, no, because the 90 days
That
would
if
be
you
to
went
the end of
September
the
would be till December, right?
It'll be
October,
December,
November.
October, November, December.
Right. What I'm saying is the operating agreement requires us to give 90 days notice. Whether we do that today and you send the letter or 2 weeks from now, it's still a 90-day notice because what I'm trying to get at is that it needs to be a notice that goes to the end of the year, that you're operating an agreement when it expires at the end of the year will not be renewed unless there's a new place of business to work under, because that's the deadline of the current operating agreement. So we are already giving plus 90 days notice if we go ahead and issue this letter.
I would just say go, I do see what you're saying, but I think we need to go 90 days from the 23rd.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that would be, I don't know if that's December 23rd, 22nd, whatever it is. Yeah. And because they were promised that we would not to discuss this until that second meeting in September. So we have to follow that.
Yeah, Shannon made the motion. Linda, did you
Yes,
second?
I seconded
Sorry, I
that.
get that. Eric?
Yeah, I think one really good aspect of handling it this way is they don't have to come back.
Right, exactly.
Like they know that effective the 23rd is the initiation of the 90-day notice, and you won't have to come back. You know where you're at. You know what's
Exactly.
gonna happen, move forward, and you can not have to worry about coming anymore.
Yeah, and I know there was some hesitancy on our part because we really didn't know how to handle the situation. And so this is just how long it took to kind of get to this point. So again, I apologize for that. Nobody likes to hear that, but I really don't know how else to put it. Just kind of one of them things took us some time to work out the solution. And, I know as far as you guys running a business in town, I don't have any problem with that. I didn't have any problem when you guys were doing it. I heard nothing but good things about your business. So I hope that you are able to find a new place and that, hopefully we'll be able to supply you with a license should that happen. So, that's just my comment on that, Shanna.
I apologize if don't explain this well. So September, what did you say, 23rd? And then we issue the 90-day notice, which is whatever it's going to be, December 22nd, that we're canceling the operating agreement, which is a month-by-month agreement, right? So if she pays December and it expires anyway because you're not renewing, are you refunding her the other 8 days of the operating agreement because you canceled it on the 22nd and not the 30th, the end of the 30th?
I would, yes. Prorated per day, how much it would be per day, and whatever 8 days or 9 days or whatever it is, you would get refunded for. Exactly.
So then I won't pay you anymore because I'll still have my beer license. That's good until June of 2026. And just because the operating notice is canceled or agreement is canceled, I still keep the license. So there's no reason for them to take them from me. So the liquor will go back to you, but the beer will still be with me until 2026. So I won't pay you guys anything for that then.
For the beer.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure that we're refunding anything that we've canceled up to 8 days.
Any,
Prorated one. Sorry. No, that was it.
all right, any other discussion or questions? Yes, sir.
Hey, I've been in this town for 10 years now. I've lived in smaller towns than this, in Canton, Wyoming, for a year and a half. I used to stake mining claims. I am like mesmerized, whatever, about how much it costs to pay for water, sewer, $115.
Okay. Sir, can you hold your comment on literally the next item on the agenda is items from constituents?
I can't.
We're still in the discussion period.
This is the first meeting I've been to.
No worries, sir. Okay, is there any comment or question on the motion on the floor to give the notice beginning on September 23rd to cancel the operating agreement? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, items from constituents. Sir, would you like to provide your comment, please?
Yeah, I can't believe how much it costs for water, sewer. And you can't even drink the water. It just amazes me. I pay $750 rent. And the first day I wake up every month, I owe $950 to electric and your water bills. It's just amazing. And I'm actually leaving October 1st. The first meeting I've ever been to. I can't believe the way this town is run. I had a very good friend that was your finance officer for a short period of time. So she was internal here. She left, I want to say within 3 months. Don't need to mention any names, but she said that this whole thing is inside out the way it's run. One of the comments she made to me was, people moving into town and somebody from this board telling them, oh, what do you move in here? We're gonna slap you silly with building permits and so, like I said, I'm leaving. I've had it. I've been here 10 years. I'm in a rental. I'm right by the school. You cannot keep dust out of my house, period. They put all new windows in the upper level. I'm at 495 Beulah Street. I quit trying to keep the dust down. I just gave up on it. So, I know you did something on Fifth Street to tamper that down. You did your whatever. You coated your gravel road, but
Yeah.
it's just amazing.
All right. Well, I appreciate your comments, sir, and thank you for coming, and it's fortunate that you feel the need to leave, but thank you for coming in.
It's not unfortunate. You guys have been doing this for 10 years. So, all there is to it.
Yes, sir. All right.
You're not running your show right.
All
You
right.
know, the fact that you had Brian Haig in here, I know he's not here anymore.
Excuse me, sir.
You got it.
This is a structured,
I hate to tell the truth, but that's,
it's not what you're saying, it's just that we have other people that like to speak, and this is.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I just, like I said, this is the first time I ever came into a meeting. Doing all me.
All righty. Thank you, Jerry.
Jerry Stiles, citizen here at Hermosa,
Yes, sir.
and well, he's not supposed to cover.
All right, thank you.
Start off first, I'd like to say a great thanks to Donna for her comment about, what the citizens' concerns are about the lawyer. I'd like to take it to say a thank you to Chana, some of your past experience and things you covered out in the meeting today was very good for to keep the meeting going. Some of the things you just from your past knowledge, I appreciate that. I want to say thanks to Cal for doing what he is doing, the rest of the board, Aaron and everybody. Couple things I want to cover. The importance of what Aaron does as far as the liaison position that he does. We're looking at this budget here. There's one thing that I've been tracking for the last 7 years is that there was a business that wanted to come into this community 7 years ago. And based upon the reception that he got from the board at that time, chose not to. I've been tracking that, and his 2% that he would pay would have been about $70,000 a year. That's 40%. That's a quarter. Yeah, that's 25% of what our sales tax is. Over the last 7 years, that was $500,000. Now, we can't go back, we can't fix that, but we can go into the future and make sure that we have an atmosphere here for businesses. And the next item I would like to cover is that, and that was discussed earlier, it is important, the citizens have spoken. The citizens want a new attorney. It was brought up by Andrea here. Why did our attorney, this is the town attorney, why did he get up and leave the meeting and go out and talk with the other people's attorney? It's totally, and that was just totally uncalled for. And the board needs to listen to the citizens. It is, that's it. And again, Donna, I thank you very much for bringing that up. And Aaron, thank you for everything you've done, streets and everything. Terry, we can clap for you again if you want. So, that's what I had. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. Mort?
Just, I know Ms. Kramer, she was talking about reading the meters. And I personally have a large water system. And then I served on some municipal boards for water. And it will completely change your paradigm when you go to automated meters that run on either cell phone time and that are sending the information. And you can't manage what you can't measure. And yes, the cost is very high. She mentioned 70-some thousand dollars compared to $2,000, but there are, what you learn on how you use water more than pays for that. And it's not leaks, it's not anything else, it's how we as humans use water. And so there's opportunities to save water on electricity by operating and using your storage correctly. There's more things that open up, and technology is great. I get water meters, I get my readings on the cell phone. I have pressure alerts for pressure drops, and then and after you do it for a while, you can set your usage to have alerts sent to several people if there is a leak. And so it's just, I know labor's hard to find and technology has come a long ways, but it's a heavy upfront cost. And one of the local municipals around here, they implemented it over a period of years. And then there's only about two companies that really service most of the towns and rural waters in South Dakota. That's Badger and Metron Farm Gate. And they're very similar in cost and very helpful. And they're already in municipalities and rural water districts in South Dakota. So they've got people here, and it will totally change how you look at your water usage. And then that information is invaluable because it comes down to a tenth of a gallon. And a tenth of a gallon, you can tell a customer could log on to their account and see if the toilet's leaking and when it leaks. It's actually quite amazing what we can do with technology. So please consider that.
Oh, no, I'm all for it.
I've
I
read
just
meters
want,
before.
I just want everybody to know that it is a big, and it'll take time to get that in effect. Even if we call the company tonight and say, we want to get started tomorrow, it'll still take a year or whatever to get it all completed. So it's time, it'll be time consuming, but I think it's a wonderful thing. I think for the office in particular, it's the way to go, for sure. It is a lot of money, and it has been put off for several years, so.
There's a lot of value.
Why have you been putting it off that long?
Finances, for one thing. They're always with the other issues that we've had. It was the easiest place to cut, to be quite honest. And I'm just speaking as one board member, that helps with the budget, but it was the easiest place to cut expenses, than anything else.
You know what? I lived in
sad.
Rapid City for 32 years.
Sir, yeah, we're doing a structured discussion right now, so thank you very much. Yes, ma'am, and then Dan. Yes, ma'am.
Vicky Bolt. We are already raising our water bill because of the lagoon.
Yeah,
$12.82 a month.
yeah, we did on earlier this year.
Okay. Well, if this implements, $70,000, which I think is wonderful, but that's gonna be another thing that adds to our bill. And it's over doubled since I moved here 23 years ago. And it's not just the water and the sewer and the garbage, it's all the DOT, and all the extra stuff that we're paying with it. So I just want to suggest that we pay something off before we put something else on. That's all.
Okay, thank you. And I guess just as a quick addressing to that comment, so the lagoon was basically, or it was a project that former boards had, I don't know if it was that they had attempted them and didn't make it, or it was kind of a project on hold and the money was there and we had to do the lagoon upgrade. And then it came, so when we get the lagoon upgrade, where are we gonna put the water? we can't land apply anymore, which is what this town has been doing since the sixties or whenever they did that. And so we have to be able to discharge into the creek. So the best way to do that is the treatment plant. And unfortunately, it's two different pots of money that we're pulling from to do that. And so that's why we had the surcharge earlier in the year for the lagoon and then this one for the treatment plant. So anyways, yeah, Dan?
Thank you. I want to appreciate, thank you for approving the Christmas parade application and then announce that I want to thank the Simpsons for their hard work putting this together and making that parade a success. And she was then working with the city of Rapid City to get the decorations that we were hoping to get for the poles. And there was some major confusion there in amongst that, and it was having to go to a surplus. Well, in the recognition of it and all the hard work, we ended up with the decorations. So we're gonna have them.
That's awesome.
They called, asked if we could please pick them up and get them out of there. I took it upon myself to go do that. Took a large truck, and of course, with the big sides and stuff we've got on our grass trucks, I picked them up, so we'll get them to the point where we can transfer them down here and figure out how we're gonna get them put up, unless you want me to continue to store them in my porta storage that I am till that point. And then, Greasy was gonna work on brackets, go along with the brackets to hold them on poles, because the city did not have brackets for them. So we're gonna have to devise a bracket to hold them on the pole, is what she did with the last one, and pay for it out of her pocket. So we'd like to have that opportunity. I mean, they're in a safe place. They're going to be used for the city purposes. They're nice big snowflakes. They're really cool. They stand about this tall, so they're big. So I want everybody to be aware of that. That's pretty exciting and a good thing for what the community's got coming along to cheer us up in the holiday spirit. So I'll also appreciate that it's gonna be nice seeing the contract, seeing things go forward. I know utilities have always been a concern, but there is no alternative around it. I mean, it's very unfortunate for a growing community. There's a lot of things I could go into tonight that express that purpose and that utility portion of it, but that'll be something on a personal conversation and fill the rest of the blanks in. So thank you for what you did tonight and how you're running it.
All right, thank you, sir. Deb?
So who removed it off the agenda? The attorney to talk. Because Connie Leamer posted under Hermosa Township Forum on September 5th.
Yeah.
And on it in the 14th, it was under old business.
It was.
The new one.
It was a miscommunication between Terry and I, where,
I think that's where they're coming from, because
Yeah.
they've seen it.
I know, yeah, it literally was, and I apologize that I didn't catch it until I saw him there, and then I'm like, wait a minute, because I thought it was already there, but I didn't see that it wasn't there.
So when does the legitimate,
Yeah, it'll be on the next.
no, when does the agenda actually come? I know that I've come in here and she said, I can't give it to you today. You'll have to get it Monday because they're always changing stuff. So
The policy says the packet is supposed to be available Friday at 5.
it used
And
to
I
be.
tried
where-
my best to do it.
I know,
but-
but it used to be where the shut-off time was Thursday at 5.
Yeah.
So you had all day Friday to get everything ready.
Yeah.
And so it can,
But
now it's.
I don't always have somebody saying, yeah, go ahead, that's the
That-
agenda.
that's what I'm saying.
And really, technically speaking, the agenda is not set until we vote on it at the beginning of each meeting. I mean, and per the STML open meeting law brochure that they gave out, I mean, they state as such, so.
It just makes it easier for the citizens to
Yes,
see
ma'am.
what is actually.
Yeah, and we do need to get better at that, so I appreciate you bringing that up. Trina, did you have a comment?
I know you tabled the, contract for Chuck Ferguson, and I wanted to ask the board to have Anthony review that contract, because I was at a meeting where Anthony said that Chuck will be working for him, for their company. And so it seems to me, I don't want us to, it's like my damn subscription for my TV. I don't want to pay twice for the same thing, 'cause it's really easy to do that. So anyway, I just, before it comes up on the agenda again, I'd ask that maybe Anthony review it.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, he has reviewed it and,
Okay.
I think there's gonna be, so the way the contract reads, I guess just real quick. So Chuck will still be working for the town, doing, the tasks delineated in the contract. And then I also believe that he will have some other relationship as well. So I think that it's a both and not an either or on the situation you're talking about, where there's not gonna be overlap in those two different areas.
Yeah, it just didn't seem very obvious to me.
Right. Yeah, I understand, but come to the work session, we're gonna be going over it.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, help us get it all
Figure it out.
figured out then, yep. Any other items from constituents? Okay, very good. Trustee input? Any trustee input here?
I would like to say on behalf of Terry's offense, Terry has a pretty fair load. And if, I don't understand why it has to be such a set time to have these out. Is it roaded? Is there someplace that it says that? Huh?
24 hours prior has to be posted.
Well, then Friday night,
The
I mean, you still have
the
Saturday.
policy says that the packets will be available at 5 o'clock on Fridays, which.
It doesn't happen sometimes because of the workload you have during the week.
Yeah, it's, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. We still have some growing pains here, and through no fault of Terry's. I mean, she was put in a very difficult position when she came to this office, and continues to be put in a more difficult position with the turnover in office staff and stuff. So, I mean, I don't. Okay, Shannon, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I would say, in all my years, you shouldn't feel bad about that or judged, because in all my years, it was the same way. Packets were ready on Friday, but there's always extra paperwork that they're gonna have set at their places when they get here on Tuesday, because more information, business continues to happen on Monday and Tuesday up until the meeting. And, the agendas are available at a minimum of 24 hours prior, and that's gonna be the items that can be acted on. And then we can add items the day of, but they cannot have motions towards them unless it's under a department or something like that. I don't know if that helps clarify anything, but your best bet for the agenda is to look when you're up to that, within that 24 hours. I think the board should think about the Christmas float for the Christmas parade, what we want to do. You're only going to have a couple months, really. And how we want to go about that. Well, that's my point. Let's not rush it. Maybe pick something good and have time to actually work on it. And I'd like to see that maybe we set aside some funds to pay for the brackets for the decorations that Dan was able to secure. I think the storage is great place at this point, other than the garage down the bottom shed, whatever, would be the only other place, and there's really not room. So I personally appreciate you storing them for us, Dan, and thank you. Maybe we could add that to the agenda to at least discuss at the next meeting to help pay for those brackets.
On the work session?
Sure.
Everything's on there now.
That was gonna be one of my comments.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Thanks, Linda.
Mhm.
And lastly, I guess I want to say that there's been a lot of miscommunication and misinformation floating around between everyone, and it's getting people riled up and taking sides. I just want to make sure that the public has the correct information when they choose to judge a person, place, or business. It's not fair. It's not guilty until proven innocent, and it shouldn't be that way. Unfair accusations made without having the whole story, or it's just one-sided. It hurts people. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Linda?
As far as the Christmas decorations go, I would also like to thank Dan for picking them up. He called you. I appreciate the time that you took to do that. And I also appreciate the fact that you're storing it. In my opinion, there's no reason to move it now when it's gonna have to be moved in a couple months to be put up. That would just take time from you and whatever town volunteer or employee that would be doing it.
I'm just looking at you, Aaron.
Me?
Yeah, Mr. Volunteer,
I
that's
don't
why.
want decoration.
Volunteer.
That being said, I would also like to, I mean, rather than making brackets or, I mean, can't the town buy the proper brackets?
What we're gonna do is we're gonna look at the banding, is that they have steel brackets on them, but we need to get the proper banding, band around the hole.
Like,
Like a radio.
Rapid City.
Yep.
Yeah, there's some.
Yep.
Well, my suggestion would be that the town pays for that. And so, we can discuss that and where we're gonna store it, maybe at the next work session, and then have it put on the next real meeting so that we can vote to pay for that. I think that's the least we can do for our town is, to pay for those brackets.
How much decorations cost?
Yeah, the decorations are horrible. Well, that was another thing, just a little silly thing, kind of really. When I first came here and wanted Christmas decorations, you could buy one at that time for $75 to $90 for these same size ones for the light poles. And now they're 500 to 700. I mean, it just, or more, yeah, it's just horrible how towns can afford to do the fun things for the citizens, including parks and park equipment. It's very difficult being up here and having to say no to the citizens for the fun things, because that's really what we all want to. So, anyway.
Okay, well, thank you. Aaron, did you have any?
Yeah, I just, thanks to the citizens again for showing up, for regularly recently showing up. There were a few items tonight that y'all caught things that we know we're gonna have to look at with readings and such and your input. And just, yeah, very, very much appreciated that you're getting involved with your government, because we work for you, not the other way around. So thank you for being here.
Yep.
And it's been described as a volunteer position. So, which it is to a degree. We do get a stipend, but, it is largely volunteer based on just the amount of input that we have to do. But anyways, appreciate everybody coming. Just keep all coming and keep helping us catch stuff, and we can work together and get this place rocking and rolling.
Yeah, I do. I want to thank you, Cal. I think you do a very good job at running the meetings, and I can say that you do a way better job as president than I ever did, and I want to thank you for that very much. I know, that's true. That's the truth. I think he does a very good job. He keeps it moving. Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Appreciate that. Yeah. I just got to get a bigger hat. So
Gotta be honest.
unless anyone would like to enter into executive session, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Do we need to go into executive session? Oh, good. I'd make a motion to adjourn at 8:58. 5, I could wish.
I'll second. Okay, all those in favor?
Where did it go? Exactly.
Carries, meeting adjourned.
Unbelievable, isn't it?